Welcome back, Wanderer, Wayfarer, Wizard, Warrior, and Wildcat alike. Your host, Frank Monday, projecting to you from a distant Twilight Zone reality deep within the central kingdom of the Celestial Dragon. I think I got the phone problem figured out now. Not sure. But this morning, on the 2nd of January, 2023, I am discussing Robert Bruce's Astral Dynamics. And we've made it up to the part one, the section called Astral Feedback. I believe it's in part one. Let me double check to make sure. Keep that valuable incense burning there. Valuable herb. So yeah, it's in Astral Feedback is in which section? Why are we that far along? Let's see here. Yeah, it should be part one under Astral Sight or the Mind Split section. Looks like I'm on page 25. So if you're keeping up with the program, then we're on the section called Astral Feedback. It's around page 25. And I quote, as the above mind split experience shows, astral feedback can occur if the physical etheric mind connects with its own real time mind during a projection. Direct astral feedback is powerful, energetic, telepathic phenomenon that, if allowed to continue for too long, could very possibly cause psychological, energetic, and even physical damage to the human brain. Direct astral feedback is like forcing the human mind to grasp actual infinity, the limitlessness of which no human mind is capable of grasping. So that's a lot to unpack right there. Welcome, wanderer and wayfarer. I see you out there in happy land. Thank you for joining me this wintry day from the abodes of the fathomless cavern as we wander into the astral realms. So, with all of those patterns of memory being created and various levels of ideation and different energetic bodies at work while you sleep, it's really beyond the capacity reason why some of my favorite uh, sci-fi horror fantasy writers and writers of horror fiction and stuff, fantasy writers and writers of horror fiction and stuff are dead at 46 because the mind blows up from trying to pull too much of the shadow memory into this world. And I think you need to take it real slow. Be wary of that. Full astral feedback, as shown above, seems to occur only when both physical and projected doubles are fully awake and focused directly on each other at the same time. And that's a very profound mind split experience when you suddenly become aware of multiple thinking perspectives all occurring simultaneously within your deeply relaxed physical being, but then you're aware that on energetic levels, there are these beings operating independently. Hey, we've got a visitor out in Happy Land. Frank out in Jersey, free gift from God. Yo, yo, yo. The devil is in the house. The devil is in the temple, so to speak. Uh, let's see where. So I skip over this section because you can read it on your own. It's on page 26. But I've got some notes here on uh, the section called OBE success and failure. So most people are so tired and disappointed by their seemingly failed projection attempts that they just roll over and go to sleep. So, say you're lying down to do some projection activity in the headed into the abodes of the evening, and you're not getting the feedback you want right away, then you might give up and just go to sleep. They believe they have simply failed. Once again, they have simply failed once again. Does this sound familiar? The projection itself is successful, but you become unaware of it by giving up. So as you wander into the realms of twilight, settle your attention into the point of recall. Relax, breathe, shift your attention point through the darkness beyond the cloud of night, beyond the dark forgetfulness, and seize your power of recall ad astra, floating in the darkness of the twilight realm. Stars, one by one, twinkle in the surrounding void. A westering crescent moon appears, which shines luminous silver light down onto a distant mountain range. A cave entrance is visible. All is framed within the finality of a tall, long chasm at the end of a long pathway. Slowly walking up the route towards the scene ahead, feel the earth beneath your feet. A cool, crisp mountain breeze tussles the fabric of your garments, and the scent of citrus, pine, and oleobanum can be sensed in the air. Touching the left side of the chasm wall, feel the cold, smooth stone surface. You are aware of a shadowy, bat-like sentinel above you. Watch out for that guy. He's the guarder at the first gate. We are in the second decan of Capricorn. It represents Capricorn's control of Mars, the energy of Mars under the auspices of Capricorn is constructive rather than destructive. So it's in the Tarot Minor Arcana, it's the Three of Pentacles called the Lord of Material Works, and it represents a reward for hard work and dedication and to follow things which benefit body, mind, and spirit. Let's see here. I've got some chatter out in Happy Land. Free Gift from God says, "Hey there, Frank buddy, how are you doing? Do you ever think about going back into the past? Um, like past life regression or going back into the deep past. I don't know, it depends on your mission, right? Like what are you up to and what is the ultimate goal that you're attempting to achieve, and does that activity directly serve it? For me, no, I haven't really focused on the past that much or any of those types of activities like past life regression. I think that the present moment and your current situation in the cosmos is really what it's all about. You know, it's your area of direct control. Sometimes I do. It depends on if I'm pulled, if the spirit moves me. But no, I haven't set out with that as any particular mission. Maybe if there's some trauma you need to work through or some key thing you need to connect within yourself, then that could be useful. But me personally, no. I go into the immediate future and even a little further into distant futures. But as far as like too much, um, what is that called? Recidivation, like going back, not so much, except for when I'm rebuilding my kung fu structures from my own physical past in this lifetime. Then I'll do some of that because you do need a foundation. And but no, to answer your question simply, not so much, not so much. Where are we? What did I want to share with you guys next? Seems like had written it down here, but it doesn't seem to be. Be singular focused. Know what you are about, man. Know thyself. Maybe it's here. Let me check my notes real quick, guys. So there are three, when raising energy, there are three positions of the physical body, right? The lying position, the standing position, and the seated position. And this doesn't take into account walking meditation or kung fu or tai chi, that type of thing. But when when you've had a good uh, trance session, then in order to gain greater mastery, let's say you're working on a situation where you're coming up from sleep, like a night of sleep, then it would be of benefit to take the standard meditation posture with the hands above your head and connecting with the heavenly God force energy above, and then going back into seated meditation for a few minutes. If you're going down into sleep, then in the evenings, then the opposite would be true as well, that you should adopt the hands above the head posture. We call this supporting heavens, like the Atlas posture. So slight squat, um, tuck the sacral pump, as it were, hands above the head, embracing, like holding up a sphere above your head, the Atlas posture, and do that for 3 to 5 minutes, and then sit down in meditation before you go to sleep. That way, you have greater energetic levels. The basic pulling in scheme is this way: you pull up through both legs, and it goes on the outside, the thrusting channels up the back of the torso and up in the hands, and these connect here, and then it thrusts up and over the head, and then down through the third eye center, past the heart center, and then stored in the lower dantian. So you can see from this picture, we have three dantians. The lower dantian, the lower elixir field, called the um, cinnabar field, and then the central, the golden field, and then the celestial, the crystal field. So there are three fields of energetic growth. The lower one is represented by cinnabar and extracting mercury, and then that mercurial energy comes up and above and then drips down. It kind of rains down onto the crystal palace. So this is a palace of crystals growing within a cavern, right? The brain. And then that energy is refined and it's drank down into the heart center. And this is where you're producing the pure gold of a good personality, right? And then you just circulate that extraction process over and over and over again, and storing up your gold, as it were. I'll not go too much into the internal alchemy of it, though, because that could be a distraction when you're focused on your astral work. So that was not the relevant imagery I was looking for, though. It seems to have eluded me. It's possible that I wrote it somewhere else. I find that it helps if I have the representations close at hand. Good question, though. Thank you for that, Francis out in Joycey. Good to see you, man. Um, yeah, we'll just have to roll without it, huh? Just roll with the punches. Don't let it don't let it bother you. Let's get on with this. So he says, falling asleep is the very last thing you should do after the projected double has made its exit. See if I can get that a little better centered. A light sleep does not cause too many problems as long as the projected double does not stay out for too long. But a deep sleep, however, causes many problems. The projected double should always plan to re-enter the physical etheric bodies before it falls into a deep sleep. Now, the reason for this is that the good, have fun in dreamland, Frank. Good to see you, man. Is it what time is it there in Jersey right now? I don't know why the laptop doesn't have an easily accessible world clock. I guess it should be in mission control. Let me see if it's over there. Let me check and see if mission control has it. Yeah, I've got mission control clocks open, so I'll add one for you. I've got Beijing. It's 11:22 a.m. And then we've got Memphis, Tennessee is 9:30 p.m. Los Angeles right now is only 7:22, 9:22. And let's add one for New Jersey. 10:30, huh? Okay, so you're an hour later than Memphis. Let me add another one though for Jersey. Anybody else who's out there in Happy Land in the future, tell me where you're at, and I'll be able to add a clock for you. That way I can easily access it. What is the Jersey time zone? Let's see, we've got New York. You'd be the same as New York, right? Is that accurate? Does anybody think I look like Littlefinger from Game of Thrones? I was watching Littlefinger the other day, and I was like, wait a goddamn minute, that looks like me. And I thought I kind of look like Littlefinger. Did you guys watch Game of Thrones? Do you guys remember Littlefinger? Um, I think that's correct. I think New York would be the same. It says New York is at uh, yep, 10:23. 10:23. Or I should probably say that Littlefinger looks like Frank Monday, huh? That would be more accurate because I believe I am his senior. All right, guys, now I can check really easily just by going over to the laptop control center. That's very helpful. Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, into the abodes of dreamland you go, my friend. That's good. So, an awake or only very lightly sleeping physical etheric mind allows for much easier and more reliable shadow memory downloading during the tricky reintegration phase at the end of a projection. I personally suggest having yourself an evening twilight mission that you can have an ongoing one like I do, like building up the astral temple, but having a mission statement like mine here, right? In humility and sincerity, I, Frater Francis Lunas, Aristeas of the OTA, commit to endeavor to practice the astral method for 100 consecutive days for the purpose of learning to have genuine astral projection experiences, learn from these, share what my findings, share my findings with the enclave of initiates, and bring back actionable intel and gold coins. So I have a mission statement, and then I have some scripting, some astral scripting that I use before going to sleep and waking up. So I'm a little more dedicated than probably your average wayfarer. But as I lie down to sleep each night, I dwell within the darkness of the fathomless cavern, and I formulate my twilight mission, and I'm clear about what I am up to. Know thyself. And then with that twilight mission in hand, then I launch into the realms beyond it. And I found it's interesting, but I found like this creating these astral scrolls, these like lucid dream scroll work where I have a pen and like a scroll and I'll write it down and then roll it up and stick it in my robe as I head out into the realms. I find that it's helpful. And then when I get back before coming back into the waking world, I'll unscroll it and see if my writing is still there, and then try to add to it, like add the takeaway, right? The upshot, like what did I learn? Did I answer that question? And then roll it up and then get up and then try to write it down in my journal. It seems to be like he was saying here that it could potentially cause physical damage to the brain. It says it could very possibly, if allowed to continue for too long, could very possibly cause psychological, energetic, and even physical damage to the brain. So I think I'm above that a little bit. I don't find that I'm doing myself any long-term damage by trying to engage in astral feedback for a little bit longer than your average individual. Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe I'm wrong. So uh, practice at your own at practice on discretion. All right. Here, I've taken some notes here. Projectors are unaware that the shadow memories have simply overwritten the physical etheric body memories for that time period. The mind split occurred and provides a single memory apparently unbroken of a projected form from the time of separation to reentry. One single memory stream for a single time period. In this case, they have simply lost the physical side of the experience rather than losing the projected side. Understanding this explains many projection problem, dream memory problems, logically two or more memory sets for a single period of time. The strongest parts will form the dominant memory set. So here's where he talks about those three mind splits between the dreamy mind, etheric mind, real mind, and astral mind. The bottom line here is that the physical brain's final memory for any single time span during an out of body experience can come from more than one source. Any or all of these four reflected aspects of the same mind can contribute to the final memory. And I like to think that if you're a magical practitioner, then you're developing the discernment to take away the best of your experiences. And that's what coalesces at the end of the experience is everything else that wasn't relevant or worthwhile is lost in the shuffle, the shaking of the sieve, as it were, and the good stuff is going to remain, right? So you could use the analogy of panning for gold, or sifting through, or the internal alchemists. They use the analogies and the language of alchemy, right? And the you can also use the analogy of metallurgy, right? It's more of a metallurgical process that we're engaged in. That's what the philosopher's stone is, right? It's the ability to turn dross metals into gold. And really it's the distillation, it's the extracting of the gold from those lesser metals. If you've been experienced at all with doing a little bit of that, of what is that stuff called, the mineral that they pool in order to extract gold and silver and stuff. I forgot what it's called, but you gather it and then you have to break it up and then throw it in a I can't remember any of the instrumentation, the crucible, and then you refine it down and all the good stuff goes to the bottom. Then you take that out and remove the dross and then do it again, refine it again, and use some other additives to help extract that and separate it. And then you end up with a cone at the bottom, and the purest metals are on top at the pyramidion, and then you remove the dross metals. So metallurgy is a good analogy for this process. A popular theory is that everyone projects out of their body every night to play and explore and learn and do all kinds of neat spiritual stuff as if we were the astral otters of the universe. It's kind of funny, huh? There are some projected related symptoms, such as heaviness of trance, racing heartbeat, vibrations, torso rush, etc., that are most probably successfully projecting out of body. They're just not aware of it at the time. A popular theory is that everyone projects out every night you sleep to go and play and explore and learn all kinds of neat spiritual stuff. Then why do 99% of people have no memory of out of body experiences? Surely they would have some recall if what they had been doing for the first half of their experience. And the simple truth is, they never do. Um, I would find that I don't know. I guess if you're not having any recall of dreaming, lucid dreaming, or projecting while asleep, then maybe you're not, right? Maybe there are different grades of people in the world, certainly those who are more inclined toward the mystic, and then those who are very diehard, stubbornly atheistic and deny anything beyond the physical realm, even though even our limited scientific apparatus can see all kinds of invisible things that the human eye cannot perceive, nor can the human ear perceive. We know that we work within a very narrow threshold, right? The chasm I'm talking about with the guardian at the gate, and that there is a world beyond that, a much broader spectrum of analysis. And to limit yourself to this very narrow tunnel reality without the mystery. I mean, what it seems like nonsense to me, but very pragmatic, hard-nosed individuals, they'll go to the death um, promoting that dogma. So this is definitely not for them. If you have been in the astral dimension for an hour and you suddenly become aware that you are in the astral, you never have any recollection of what you were doing before, during the hour before you became aware. In a way, this is like waking up in the astral and taking over the astral body, which appears to have been operating independently up until that moment. The memory of what it had been doing for the previous hour is lost from that moment onward. Are these symptoms of yet another subtle body reintegrating and shadow memory recall problems, but on the astral level? The mind boggles at the potential complexities of interdimensional subtle body relationships and energetic conflicts. Further, consider the compatibility problems that could arise between different levels of consciousness, different levels of understanding, and memory sharing between these. And let's not forget basic reintegration problems and the fickle nature of the eventual shadow memory download into the only permanent storage medium all subtle bodies share, stretched between all aspects of the mind split, the humble physical brain. Everything experienced out of body must eventually be downloaded into the physical brain in base level understandability format if it is to generate recallable memory. That's a pretty complex word salad of basically what I said a moment ago, that you're trying to distill the best and it's a refinement process. And a lot of that activity is independent of your physical body and has nothing to do with you on a physical level. It has to do with what your soul is up to. And so much of that spiritual work may not be recalled by you. I recall a lot of it, and because I believe that it's because I've been initiated and I'm transitioning to a higher level of integration into the celestial realms and getting more direct work done. But like I said, a lot of it really has nothing to do with my practical uh, uh, prime material plane life, like getting up in the morning, cleaning house, going to work, feeding my kids, helping them with their studies and that kind of thing. The great distraction, as it were, right? Why does one successful conscious exit projection provide vivid and lasting memories while the other 99 unconscious projections do nothing? The stronger base level simply replaces and overwrites the higher level. They are driven, these shadow memories are driven into inaccessible levels of subconscious mind and memory. All memories of a higher level of existence are therefore usually lost, downloaded into inaccessible levels of subconscious mind and memory. And again, that will change depending on if you practice magic or not. If you're doing your kung fu and qigong, you'll definitely have a lot more energy to recall, and you'll experience better health and more, and even subtle spiritual powers, the ability to influence your fate and karma, and even have a direct effect on the natural environment around you, uh, periodically influencing weather patterns, being the catalyst for things like lightning storms, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods. So you got to be careful. But as you wake up to those powers, you would increasingly be less likely to use that for any ill reason. He says that, as a very rough guess, he'd speculate that less than 1% of high level experience memories are potentially accessible to the physical brain at the base level of consciousness. It takes a lot of energy to maintain the integrity of a single projected double. The only parts of high level experiences that are storable as recallable memory are those parts the physical brain is capable of recognizing and converting into base level format. I believe the above factors accounts for the metaphorical abstracts, symbols, images, and feelings that are sometimes remembered after high-level OBEs and dreams, instead of the more recognizable types of OBE and dream memories. This, if true, goes a long way toward explaining the abstract and metaphorical nature of prophetic, OBEs, visions, and dreams, and why these are so difficult to understand and interpret. The physical brain is only capable of storing the surface layer of high level experience memories. All the higher the dimensional levels projected into, the more abstract and metaphorical existence becomes. Yeah, that's definitely true. I've experienced that in in using the Chariot card, Major Arcana number 7 of the tarot deck. I found that I went really quickly up the 4 worlds, the Tree of Life. Let me pull them up for reference. So the incantation of the chariot is abracadabra, right? Bringing something into existence. And the journey of the charioteer from the earthly domain to the highest spiritual realms goes from the sphere of the earth sphere, the Ashia, up the tree of life, right? Which is a journey in and of itself. When you first start meditating on the middle pillar and projecting up the tree of life, you'll often be pulled down into the clip off to let go of your husks and shells, right? In the incantation of Tahuti, one of the first lines is, "In the name of the mighty and terrible one, I proclaim that I have banished the shells unto their habitations." So you have some of these lesser ghostly spirits, and in fact, in Taoism, they say there are 7 parts, Hun spirits, or lesser, more ghostly spirits that are integrating within the physical shell. And maybe it's the 7 deadly sins, as it were, right? A spirit for each of them. But they'll be pulled down because that's a greater portion of your being, 7 out of 10. Well, there are more than 10, but we'll say 7 out of 10, whereas there are the 3 Dantian energies that have holy guardian angels in them. There's only 3 of those. So a 70% gets pulled down into the clip off, where you must banish the shells unto their habitation, right? And that's kind of a really scary part. Um, Anyway, I won't talk too much about that because each individual's mileage will vary. But then once you've alleviated yourself of that energy and it's been refined, as it were, then the three holy guardian angels that empower you can raise you up into the Yetziratic sphere, the formative spheres. And that's where you can truly start to see that golden light of the Center Dantian of Tifereth. And where there'll be like, choirs of angels booming on trumpets, and it's a different, it's party time again, but it's a different kind of party time, you know what I'm saying? But then as you go above that into the Briatic sphere, the spheres of great creativity, then it becomes all very abstract and even frightening. Like, have you seen some of the powers and angelic forces, like a big globule, an amorphous globule of eyes and multiple wings? Like your classic angelic power has six wings, and it's basically a beholder sphere with multiple eye surfaces. And to experience that and be inside of it, it can be a very frightening thing for an initiate. So, not recommended for the neophyte. When you get up to that level, you're talking about like what guys see when they're on whacked out acid trips and stuff, But you do it through meditation and trance states, not through drugs. You don't need any drugs for this. This is all done naturally and just with your breathing patterns and the refinement of your life energy over time. But then if you go into the absolute, right, the absolutic sphere, the sphere of archetypal, then like that stuff is so beyond the cognitive grasp of the human mind that you can't. I mean, it can't be put into language of any kind, really. Like, but the experience is real. That's when you can see the face of what is that guy's name? The highest god above even our solar system and our universal expression. Um, Abraxas, was that his name? Probably better not to talk about him, right? Him or her or it, because it's so vast and so giant that it doesn't have an anthropomorphic it doesn't have an anthropomorphic representation. In fact, even the things in the Briatic sphere, they don't have anthropomorphic representations. And to say it's this or that, and then to write about it and base your understanding exclusively on like biblical texts or the Book of Enoch or any of those sources is so backwards. It's so asinine. And to even discuss those high lofty things at at the academic or scholastic level seems to me to be a little bit asinine when when you're doing it in such a manner that you're not doing any of the work to see it for yourself. Once you've been out there and you've done the work and seen it for yourself, and then you read those, you're like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. I've seen that. I mean, it is a big deal, but you'll have a deeper understanding of it. That's why I posted that little link to yesterday. I posted a link to Altrusian Garden Media. I keep getting their name wrong, but I think I have it right now. Alt Garden Media. That sounds correct. And called, I think the presentation was like a 20 minute, 25 minute presentation called Thinking for Yourself. And I'll put it back, I'll put it in the link below, maybe if I remember. Altrusian Garden Media. Altrusian Garden. Yeah. Altrusian Garden Garden Media Media. That guy does a lot of good work. He's got a hundreds of thousands sub base, so he's got some motivation. But whether you've got 100 subs or 100,000 subs, you should always do your best, right? Um, so anyway, so the chariot took me rapidly. Um, Obviously, I don't have any business getting pulled back into the clip off anymore. I've been through it. I've crossed the abyss. But going right from the prime material plane through the astral plane and then into the celestial spheres, and with like when you're in the celestial spheres, you have that direct contact with the absolute archetypal sphere of the absolute, right? That, wow, just so powerful. Like, that's why they say that a man who has seen the face of God cannot return. Um, Once you go beyond that veil, I think you can though. I think I've been up there. I mean, I've been up there. I don't know if I've stuck my head through or not. Maybe I have, right? But it seems like, again, that's another caveat that is put there, I think, to discourage the unworthy, right? To make people feel like, don't try to go too high in your practice. But I would disagree. I would agree with Baudelaire, man. Get out there and see it for yourself, and don't believe in it from the writings or teachings of other people. You have to experience it firsthand. Baudelaire says, "Get high." That you must always be high. Everything depends on it. It is the only question, so as not to feel the horrible burden of time wrecking your back and bending you to the ground. You must get high without respite. But on what? On wine, on poetry, or on virtue? Whatever you like, but get high. And if sometimes you wake up on palace steps, on the green grass of a ditch, in your room's gloomy solitude, your intoxication already waning or gone, ask the wind, ask the waves, the stars, the birds, the strange aromatically carven wooden grandfather clocks with their four hands telling an alien time. Ask everything that flees, crawls, moans, moves, breathes, everything that sings, everything that speaks. Ask them what time it is. And the wind, the waves, and the stars, they will all tell you it's time to get high. So as not to be the martyred slaves of time, get high constantly on wine, on poetry, or on virtue, as you wish. But do get high. Yeah, I'm with Baudelaire there. Ooh, someone's at the door knocking. Can you hear that? Oh, let me see who's there. Probably a delivery guy. Turning, hey, sure. Turning my turning my hard-earned money into online shopping for my wife. Let's see what she got. Check it out. Shall we do an unboxing? I like to unbox my wife's deliveries because I'm the one paying for them, right? It's a liquid in bottles. So let's see what it is. Who wants to see an unboxing? Exciting sound of the box cutter. Okay. Wow, there's some real party time stuff in here, guys. What's up? Yo, what up, what up, what up? Contains a variety of nourishing essence. There you go. It's a bottle of rose moisturizing massage essential oil. Two bottles of it, 500 milliliters each. And then there's a glove, a rubber applicator for rubbing it all over your body. Looks like someone's expecting to have some sort of, oh, it looks like it's some sort of therapeutic body rub. Huh. Wonder if she's planning to rub me down with that or rub herself down. Maybe she wants me to rub her down with it. Let's see what it says here. 胫骨陡生长，四肢的冲动。Hmm. So it's something you apply during massage therapy. Interesting. It's got to do with Chinese massage therapy. 精油 我们更专业精油. Okay. So it's a kind of oil, aromatic oil with infused with rose essential oil. Contains a variety of nourishing essences. Okay. See, it's got Rosa rugasa, Canarine album, Vitis vinifera, and Prunus amygdalis dulcis. See if I can read the Chinese. Huayo, so Meigui Huayo, uh, rose, of course, and then a citrus fruit, and then bohe, a peppermint oil, and then I can't read the last one. Yongfa. Yeah, rub it into the skin. Uh, okay, so there you have it, man. Would you like to try that? I wonder what that cost me. I'm not gonna worry about it. You start worrying about that kind of horse shit. You spend your whole life in anxiety. Just let go, relax, deep relaxation. Alrighty, guys. I think I've gone a little beyond what the amount that I scheduled for today, so that's good. It's good that I did what I set out to do. My contemplation card for the first 10-day of the Astral Projection Challenge has been the Charioteer, and the Chariot has led me to my next card of contemplation I'm going to look at. Up to you what you guys want to astrally project into, or what symbols you think are useful for you. But I'll be looking at card, if you want to follow along with me, I'll be looking at card number 10, the the Wheel of Fortune. So uh, it's a glyph for the mechanism of how the universe works, as the three alchemical principles spinning on the wheel of life. And so it'll be a deeper contemplation on those alchemical symbols of what are they, sulfur, salt, and mercury? If that's correct. Let me check here to be sure. Uh, the the Hebrew letter is Kaf, which represents the palm of the hand. The palm of the hand turns the wheel of fortune, and therefore we create our own destiny. Those of us who study magic, the rest of the world, they're sheeple. Their destinies are created for them. The palm of the hand also contains our destiny, as told in palmistry, and it is said to be an imprint of the life path of the soul. So cough also one of the, in Carlos Castaneda's teaching, one of the techniques for breaking into the realm of dreaming and deeper levels of astral projection is seeing the hand whilst asleep. So when you're in dreaming and you find that you're dreaming, look at your hands, and ooh, that's really magical, because one of the practices I've been doing is the opening and closing of the scroll, of the etheric scroll in the astral realm. So when I'm going into the astral realms, I create a twilight mission on a scroll through a process of visualization and projection, right? And then I go into the twilight realm, and then when I'm waking up in the morning again, I pull it out of my robe, in visualization, and open it and try to recall um, what I originally projected, what was my twilight mission, and then also take notes. And I found that wow, it's really really interesting, like the way the ink looks on paper and the way the paper appears in the realm beyond. Very fascinating. And I forgot where I read this, but they said that writing is a very interesting. Rudolf Steiner said this, that writing is a very interesting activity for like angels and demonic forces and all different types of spiritual entities will pay very diligent attention to the human beings when they write, even while awake, but especially when you're doing it magically in the astral realm, because they don't do that activity, and they find it very fascinating. And there's definitely a lot of magic in it, right? In spelling and spell work and stuff like that. Okay, so let me see. Anything else I need to convey to you? So there's a esoteric symbolism in this card. There are the four beasts of Ezekiel, as it were. Let's see here. The Sphinx at the top of the wheel carries a sword, which is the symbol of the mind and the willpower. And yet the Sphinx represents the power of sulfur, not Mercury, which is usually associated with the mind. Sulfur is associated with heat and explosiveness, as represented by the Emperor. Then Typhon on the right side of the wheel is associated with salt. So it's sulfur, salt, and mercury. Those are the three alchemical. And salt is used to remove the dross, right? And sulfur, I'll have to review. I haven't studied like genuine alchemy in a while because I'm up to internal alchemy, not physical alchemy. So Typhon represents salt, death, or stagnation, which is also associated with the Empress. The symbol for salt appears on his head and behind his eyes. He has the inverted Ankh. The Ankh represents life, motion in the universe, and so the fact that it's inverted implies that contradicts the principle of life moving forward. He is serpentine and is also associated with hell. Typhon, huh? Hermanibus or Anubis on the left of the wheel is the variation of the god Anubis. It is a monkey and is meant to be the Greek version of Anubis, a combination of Hermes, Mercury, and Anubis. These two gods are associated with the function of being a psychopomp. This is something that acts as a mediator between the living and the dead, or as a guide for the souls of the dead through the underworld, as we saw in the Tahuti Hermit Tarot card, Toth Tarot card, associated with air due to his links with Mercury and the Magus. The Egyptian god Anubis is the god of mummification and the weighing of the heart ritual, in which he is the bridge between man and the gods Osiris and his consort Isis. All the characters in the card are Greek in origin, so the card is more Greek than Egyptian. Zeus is also associated with the card, the demiurge, a god of the material universe who believes that he's the highest god of all. He is too self indulgent to realize that he had been created by something higher than himself. He is incapable of realizing Kether or pure spirit. And it's interesting too, the triangle within the wheel represents the three gunas of the wheel and the stabilization of them. Within the center of the triangle is the axle of the wheel, similar to the Masonic symbol below on the back of the dollar bill. But it's also because the deacon at this time is the Three of Pentacles, which also shows a trinity of material matters, right? The uh, sulfur, salt, and mercury. Those are the three. Okay, so let's keep those in mind going forward. And I'm going to burn one of these JP ferals and wander off into the abodes of the future. Thank you for joining me for today's presentation. We were discussing astral complication of consciousness and the mind split and astral feedback. That's the key word for today's lesson. I hope y'all good looking sexy people are doing well out there in Happy Land. Next up is going to be scrying in the spirit vision and astral sight. So join me next time for more wanderings into the twilight realm. Much love, as above, so below, into the abodes of the future, guys. Keep doing good magic. Until next time, Frank Monday signing off. 再见。